Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Games, your weekly podcast where we talk about anything video game related, pretty much anything we feel like. Brought to you by myself, Travis, aka Mr. Jinxy, Logan, aka Peacemang, Kyle, aka White Strider, and Alex, aka the Dark Knight himself. And
Dude, seriously? Seriously?
Same thing. This is the first time. What are you talking about? We've never done.
yeah, we did not have a recording issue.
We did not mess up and have to restart this at all.
Stop revealing that I'm Batman to everybody. All right?
It's a flawless operation here,
It's
Alex.
getting pretty obvious, Alex. We never see Batman and you in the room together, okay? You're
Never.
Have to let it
I'm
go.
his mechanic. Who do you think's working in the Bat car all the time? That shit gets blown up like every,
And why
It
would
gets
you
blown
know
up.
that?
It does get blown up sometimes.
Because I'm the mechanic.
Because you're Batman.
Yeah.
No, I'm the
You were
mechanic.
there
I'm the background character that nobody recognizes.
You're not Morgan Freeman.
because you escaped in the
heck?
Batwing. Like,
No, I didn't escape it. Good lies. Lies and slander.
I don't know why it would be slander to be Batman, but
Yeah, like who
It's
wouldn't
pretty
want to
cool.
be Batman?
Yeah, if you could be Batman, be Batman.
I wouldn't have my parents.
Okay, fine. If you're going to be that way.
It's just the honest truth.
But anyway, let's reel this back in just a little bit. So, Alex brought up the topic on what we're going to talk about. So I'm going to let him introduce the topic, and I'm just going to let him jump right into his pick to kind of get it rolling. So go ahead, Alex, or Batman.
All right. The topic for this week is favorite RPG series. That's like a continuous series. Storyline doesn't have to be like perfectly continuous or not. So starting off, my favorite RPG series is Metro.
Batman.
Metro 2033, Metro Light, and then Metro Exodus. And just a little disclaimer. Technically, it's labeled as a
Shut up,
first-person
stop.
shooter, but I think it's more of an RPG because you do get to make decisions and change your weapons and decide how you as the character wants to play in the game. You can either be a straight up gunman and just running, killing everybody, which will change the storyline.
Yeah, I think I know someone who likes
Are
to
you
play
asking
that
a
way.
question, Jinxie?
No, he's just me.
That's how I play.
Or you can be the stealthy shadow guy that assassins everybody, or just a guy who sneaks through without anybody even knowing you're there, knocking out a guard here and there just to pass by.
Is it similar to Deus Ex or Deus Ex, however you pronounce that?
I think it is Deus Ex. I think
It's
you're right
Deus
on that.
Ex.
I
Yeah,
haven't
there-
played that one. Maybe.
Because I think in that game you can literally sneak through the entire game without killing anybody.
You can.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
no,
haven't
that is
played
actually.
both. I would say that they have elements like Metro built on elements in ways that Deus Ex is a predecessor to a lot of games that we see today. So you're right in saying that there are some similarities that you can pick out from it. Excuse me, Alex. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. Yeah, because you what Logan says, you could go through the entire game without killing
Yeah.
anybody.
But why would you?
Well,
give you all
no,
these
it
guns!
just gets really, really difficult. Just because most of the places, it's usually always cramped. You're always in a metro tunnel.
Yeah.
There's not like a lot of wide open places to play hiding spots. You kind
I
of
will
have to
say
creep
that
through
game-
behind shelves and in shadows.
They do
Yep,
really
yep.
well with their environment. Like, you really
Oh,
do
yeah.
feel enclosed and trapped, like,
Yeah,
when you're
yeah.
playing that
Oh yeah,
game.
no.
Like, they do.
Fights can get downright claustrophobic.
When you just have the lighter and you're sneaking around with just your lighter.
I do like the aspect in that game. They
That
have
part.
your character has a watch that just has a little blinking light on it, where it's like, oh, people can see you, people can't see you,
Yeah.
people may be able to see you.
I'll have to look it up.
But the reason why I like Metro, it has a fantastic story.
Yeah, it really does.
It kind of shows a different post-apocalyptic world than what I think most normal people think of one would be. Like I feel like a lot of people think it would be more like Fallout or something like that, or like
World
kinda
of
like
Warcraft,
Wasteland
Cataclysm.
or, Mad Max kind of world. Metro is more that the people of Moscow, when the bombs dropped, they all fled to the metro tunnels because they're structurally safe. They can hold back radiation for the most part. I mean, somehow it still leaks through because it's not like a completely sealed environment.
Yeah, they're not lead lined, right?
Yeah, but they do have big blast doors you can close.
Sure.
But eventually it gets to the point where the civilization is struggling a lot with just basic survival needs. Surviving radiation, getting food and supplies like that.
Finding a lover.
And dealing with all the new mutated creatures that came along with everything being highly radiated, because it wasn't just like the bomb hit out, like the people were in the city, so that's like the direct hit site of like most of the bombs. So like for the first like 20 years, based on what the storyline says, they were just you couldn't go out, you just died.
Yeah, couldn't go there. Yeah.
But I like the storyline because it kind of shows like humanity could either be good in the end, or they can continue their ways of just war and destruction, which some parts of the Metro do, because you have Nazis, you have like red communists, or just communists who are pretty radical in their beliefs. If you don't follow them, you're dead. Same with the Nazis. If you don't fit in their line, you're dead. And it's half survival, half control and power kind of situation. But the general storyline of Metro 2033 is your Artyom. That's the protagonist. Young man who was born before the bombs dropped, but he was like 4 or 5, so he's lived his whole life in the Metro. Now you have shit starts happening. People keep getting attacked by these things called the Dark Ones, which is another humanoid race that may have evolved from humans who were still trapped on the surface, or came into existence after the radiation, but they got psychic and mental powers and control over the other mutated animals, and they can drive people insane to where they just either die right out.
I want to play as one of
give
those
up on
guys.
living.
Yeah.
They either die out, they either die just right out, just give up on life, or they commit suicide and they go insane and see their friends turn into monsters and they end up killing them. So everyone's freaked out.
Dark stuff.
Yeah.
Fun
and
for
then,
the family.
not to get too far in the storyline, but eventually Artyom meets a friend of his dad who's a Spartan Ranger, who is a member of a group called the Order. They're kind of like
Master
the
Chief?
general, not Master Chief. Well, I guess you could say they're Master Chiefs of the Metro,
Kind of.
because they're the guys fully equipped with like body armor and like
Those
shit
guys are
like that.
badass.
But they're like the peacekeeping for the most part, or more like defense
Peace.
from the natural enemies, which are the
Yeah.
mutated creatures and whatnot.
Yeah, peace through superior firepower, right?
Hey, but that's the Russian way.
Yeah.
But the general of the storyline is, for the first game, is you're trying to figure out how to deal with the Dark Ones, because they keep destroying stations and whatnot, and stations are like towns and whatnot. So you'll go through a station, everyone will be dead. It was either overrun by mutated creatures, or the Dark Ones destroy the defense lines, and everything just gets destroyed. And it's hard because if a station falls, you really don't have anywhere else to go. Like if your station goes down, you have to hope you can make it the rest of the way through the tunnels, which are usually filled with all sorts of horrible things, from giant spiders that look like the alien dudes that jump on your face to.
I might not be getting the game.
No,
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah,
bad.
that is
the good thing
definitely
about
not
those
a good
guys
thing
is that
for
they're
them.
afraid of light, like any kind of light. They cannot stand it.
Oh, okay.
Like it, like
How
literally
did we
burns.
get you to play Grounded?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I don't know how we
um,
got you to play
I
Grounded.
shut my eyes mostly through it. Man, that
Well, that explains half our problems. Spiders chasing us, Logan does this.
His controller
For
just
all of
stops.
you
It's because
who
he's in
don't
his
know.
room going, no.
for all of you who don't know, I am arachnophobic. I shudder at the sight of a spider. Don't use that against me, but you know.
You know, the thing about that, too, just to
Good to
really
know.
quickly say this, though, that setting thing that they said where they had an arachnophobic setting, it actually made it more horrifying for some people. They're like, it's a blob that floats at me. I'm so much more terrified
I left
of that.
it off. I left it off. I just was like,
Yeah, no.
heck
If
it,
you
I'm
do the
gonna do it.
arachnophobic settings, it like turns them to just like
They said they were
blobs
going to
with
fix
two
that.
eyes.
Yeah,
They said the
people
blob
are
was
like,
just
oh,
a
God.
placeholder.
Oh, God, it's horrible.
how they
It's going to
gonna
be a
fix it?
bunny when they're done, like just a fluffy bunny.
That'd be even scarier. I'd be thinking
Yeah.
of Monty Python, the big,
Yeah.
part, sharp,
Yeah.
pointy teeth.
So, knights, if you do doubt your courage, then death awaits ye with nasty big pointy teeth.
Okay. But so the reason why I like the series is that anyway, it's got a
Anyway.
good storyline. You got a lot of options in how you want to like upgrade your weapons, what to have as a weapon. Now the settings for difficulty change the game's play a lot. For example, if you play on some of the harder settings, you're going to find out that ammo, even money, which is technically just military
Yeah.
grade bullets from
I was saying, it's
post-war.
bullets, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's the military like steel jacketed bullets that
Okay.
aren't easily reproduced now, which is kind of like I don't know. Having bullets as money in a game where you're low on ammo, you tend to spend your money shooting things. The added benefit is it does like a shit ton of extra damage to the creatures.
I was going to say, yeah.
it's good
yeah.
for wasting money sometimes when you're really in a dire situation in this game.
As long as you hit them.
Just go rob a bank,
Yeah.
and then you can shoot everybody. Thanks.
But you do have a
That's
lot
Grand
of
Theft
choices
Auto
in the
5.
game
Another
that
game.
change the storyline, and that's you can see that through Metro, the first Metro and the second Metro. The only thing I don't like about the game storyline wise is that the decision in like certain decisions don't carry over to the next game because it is based off a book, so they I haven't read the books, but I feel like they probably did an okay job sticking with the storyline for the most part. But like I said, in the first and second game, you have two endings you can get to, which are based on like what you do throughout the game. Like, did you kill a lot of people? Did you do this? And then there's always that kind of like final decision kind of thing. Like in the first one, I don't want to be a spoiler, but you technically get to choose whether or not you destroy the Dark Ones or destroy like their main nest.
I'd say
Which-
the hell with them.
Which is what most people do, and that's what the storyline is. That's what RTM does. That's how you.
Or
that's what ends up in
I
the
learned to
second
be
game
their
starting
leader.
off is that you destroy the Dark Ones.
And I
The
command
second
them.
one,
You murked the synths in Fallout 4 too, didn't you? Murked them all on site, didn't you?
Yeah.
On site for those things.
so
God!
the first Metro and second Metro are similar. You do play mainly in the Metro. Both games you kind of go outside the Metro.
But
like
it's horrifying.
Once or twice. Yeah, it's horrifying because there's giant bats and shit that will literally pick you up and then drop you like 50 feet away and just continue to repeat said process till you're dead.
Yep.
That and there's like hordes of these dog-like creatures. I say dog-like because they're more like four-legged dog-like creatures. That you could literally see like an entire like think of like a water buffalo group running by, except for they're a group of predators.
Oh yeah, water buffalo. Yeah.
I'm just saying like that massive herd
Don't
size
forget
kind
about
of
the
group.
bees! Ah, the bees!
I would
No, I'm just kidding.
don't cut down the water buffalo. It'll kick your ass.
Oh yeah, they're actually
I'm
one of the
sure
most
they will.
dangerous animals in Africa, I thought, right? What are buffalo?
Hippos.
Cape
Yeah,
Buffalo, though, I
they're-
heard are like stupid
well-
dangerous.
Yeah.
Hippos kill like more people there, I think, than anything else. But they said like in terms of aggression, and like they're like, dude, you better climb a tree because it's just they're gonna get you. Everything
But-
wants to kill you in Africa. Let's be
Now
real.
the last game in the Metro
It's a
series,
rough
Metro
place in the wild out
Exodus,
there.
Well, they bless the rains down in Africa. So.
They do. They do.
So
I guess
Metro,
that's the balance.
Metro Exodus, the third game, kind of deviates because
Poor
you're
Alex.
the part of the storyline you're pushing out of the Metro. You're leaving it because you have to find someplace new because everyone's
Yep.
just dying in the Metro. All right, that lifestyle is not sufficient enough for everyone to survive. So RTM, a small group, goes out to hopefully find an area that's minimal on radiation for the most part. And that's when I feel like kind of like the RPG feeling of Metro really kicks in, because you get into more of a not an open world, but more of an open area kind of map. It's more expansive. You can control yourself moving around more often. You get in this game, you get like a mobile repair station you carry with yourself, so you can fix and upgrade your guns without having to go to a station or going back to base camp. There's a lot more decision making on who you let live and who dies, kind of routine, and it does affect
Everyone
how
dies.
certain groups you meet out there will be fine. Like most of the groups you meet out there are going to be hostile to you, just because you're coming from someplace new. You're heavily armed and you're on a train, and you're just no one's going to trust you, because most people out there still think people are still invading the country and shit like that. That's still a big fear in Metro, is that the war's still going on even after the nuclear strikes. But I don't want to delve into the storyline too much, because I want people to play it for the storyline.
I might play
a
it.
good
I'm
storyline.
thinking about looking into it. Is it gonna be? Would you recommend Xbox or Microsoft?
PC.
I would go with PC.
Yeah.
PC.
And don't get me wrong, I
Dumb
played it
question,
on
I know.
Xbox. I enjoyed playing it on Xbox, but if I had the decision back then between Xbox and PC, I would have probably gone with PC.
Okay. All right. Installing now.
It's a
If it's
shooter,
a-
baby.
If it's a
ASCII
first
board.
person pew pew,
All day with
PC.
that mouse keyboard.
yeah.
Yeah, but overall, that what I've said is pretty much the reason why Metro is one of my favorite series and a favorite kind of first person RPG shooter.
There it is. There it is. See, you got 3 thumbs up.
All right, I didn't know we were doing that.
Oh, that what we're doing? Oh.
I just
Well, that's the end of my spiel.
Yes,
I hope they enjoyed it.
Heck yeah.
I enjoyed your
All right,
explanation.
cool.
You have more knowledge on your game than I've got on mine, so.
That's because
Yeah,
I've
we
played
gotta
it like
fill
3
the-
times now on different settings. So
You gotta fill the video with something, Travis. Right? Some.
Might as well be.
I am so bad at
Seriously.
remembering like stories and details in video games. Like if I played it more than a year ago, I'm like, it's a cool game.
I remember liking it.
Yeah, I remember it was fun.
I remember it was good.
now I remember storylines pretty well. Now if you ask for like specific details and names of characters, there's like a 50-50 on that. Like I remember
I would
Artyom
say
because
that
that's
your
the guy I
memory's pretty
played.
good. Just talking
But-
to you over the years, you seem to have a pretty good memory to recall situations, better than I do.
I like to say that my brain is a numerical brain. I'm good with numbers. I'm not good with remembering history and
Yeah.
storylines and stuff like that. But Alex, over the years, I mean, you've expressed that you've got pretty good knowledge on retaining that information. So
I would say retaining at least
in the moment,
the
while you're
basic
playing.
Goddamn
linear
compliment.
knowledge.
It's like, I'm just
I don't
kidding.
understand, like, because I'm not
Yeah.
gonna be able to like say dates and times. I would be able to tell you at least A to B on what the fuck happened. But if you
Right.
want specifics, I can be like, go research it yourself.
Well, I'm good
Google
with
it,
numbers.
you
Doesn't mean
jerk.
I'm good with dates either. Like I suck at dates. I mean, I can barely remember my own
Like,
birthday.
The best on dates, I can give you like a generalized year.
My superpower is
happened
being
May-
able to tell you what time it is
In
without
the
looking
past,
at the clock.
sometime something happened.
It was like
So we're talking about right now.
1970, the spring.
My Monday
Life was
superpower.
great.
Could have been fall. I'm not sure. It was one of those mid change.
I'm not sure when it started. Somebody got pissed on somebody in May, and the shit really went down in fall. But if you want to go into the details, it happened in May.
So, Metro Exodus or Metro the series as a
Metro
whole
the
is
series.
Alex's choice, and Logan mentioned he's not played it really, but he's probably gonna look into it, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
I think you'd enjoy it.
I need to finish Exodus. I started
Oh.
at this point. I'll probably just restart it again because
Yeah,
when I
that's
started
probably
it
a
was a
better
few
move.
years ago.
I
You're not gonna
started.
remember.
I
You're
got,
like, where am I? What am I doing?
Yeah, all I know
Technically, I
is I
got-
must kill.
I got one save on my Xbox for Metro Exodus, and I got another save on my PC for Metro Exodus.
And hopefully
And
nothing
I think
ever
they're
happens
both
to
almost
those.
at the same point in the storyline.
I get to a point in games sometimes where I have so many hours, I'll double save in 2 different slots just to be sure that I don't screw it up.
Yep.
You know?
But see, that's the thing with some RPGs. You gotta have like multiple saves so you can go back. Like, I don't really want to start from the beginning again, so I go here and then go path B instead of the path A. I took that time.
Exactly. Like
They told you to delete all your saves in some games because you could get a corrupt save file, like an Oblivion. Like if you kept just letting it go, all of a sudden I had like hundreds of hours in that game, and then it was just like, nope, not loading. I'm like, I think that was when I stopped playing Oblivion.
In any RPG, I usually save a shit ton.
Yeah.
Just so I can go back, be like, this one's not working. I just go back 5 more minutes more and just repeat what I did up to that point. I can do this.
But anyway, so let's move forward. Kyle, what is your pick?
So, just to go on last time, I'm actually going to float this definition out there again, just because it seemed to be good for all of us to talk about.
And this is the first time we're all hearing it because we didn't have any recording problems.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, no, this is the first time. You guys get ready for this awesome information. So, I decided while Alex was talking there, because of the fact that we're probably going to be discussing role-playing games that are coming from slightly different, like I guess backgrounds or styles of play, if you will. I looked up the role-playing video game definition just to see kind of what our games are falling under, and it says let's see here what I have it, and of course it just disappeared on me. Hold on 1 second. Here we go. It says role-playing video game. It's an electronic game genre in which players advance through a story quest and often many side quests for which their character or party of characters gain experience that improves various attributes and abilities. Now that was one definition of it. I also had a different one in here a minute ago, and for some reason I'm not finding the one that I just had. That's a little weird and embarrassing. Where did that go? Definition.
Here, I'll join you. I'm embarrassed too.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of odd. There was a different one that I read before, but now it's not pulling up. But long story short, what that definition did say was basically that it's about an immersive world with a character that you basically play through and make choices with regards to the main storyline or even side stories. So it basically talks about having an immersive world, playing a character from a single perspective, putting your emphasis into that character, and also there's usually some build systems as you go along, whether it be leveling, customizing, things like that.
Right.
It differentiates itself from maybe the typical shooter or some of the other games that you might play, like RTSs, like strategy games and things like that, because there's more of an immersive feeling of a single character. So, and obviously a fleshed out world, very fleshed out, is usually what you're going to see with an RPG. Now, for my pick, I chose a tactical RPG, which, if you're not familiar with tactical RPGs, it's basically a much more slowed down, turn-based style, but you also move on a gridded kind of map as you fight your battles. But then outside of that, it's pretty much like a traditional RPG. And the pick I have is the Wasteland series. So there's 3 in the series right now. 1 and 2 came out a while back. They were actually made by the people who originally made Fallout 1 and 2, which was also a tactical style RPG before it made its jump to a more first-person immersive RPG experience with Fallout 3. So the guys who originally made it, they moved on. At this point, Wasteland 3, I believe, that's made by In Exile, which is not the same studio that made 1 and 2, if I'm not mistaken. But what they did between 1 and 2 and 3 is that they basically brought a big graphic update and a UI update to Wasteland 3. So basically, to back it up, to tell you more about the premise, and then I'll get into what that is in a minute with Wasteland 3. The concept behind this game is very similar to Fallout. You started out as the Arizona National Guard. You're what's left of it when the nuclear holocaust comes to pass. At that time, you spend 1 and even 2 dealing with basically a master AI synthetic type of main protagonist. I'm not going to give away names and go too far into it because these games are still very accessible and able to play. And even though they're older, a tactic style RPG is a lot about the story and the choices as well. So I don't want to go too far into it. But you're basically having to deal with a very similar theme that you might have come across in maybe Fallout 4 with synths, where are you morally against this? Are you more about trying to live and let live in this future? Things like that. Now, in the first two, it was much more straightforward with the fact that you had to deal with this enemy. Now, when you come into the third game, what's happening now? Oh, I'm sorry, and let me back up. In 1 and 2, you're also dealing with trying to constantly make sure that you're able to feed and keep alive the people of Arizona. You have a vested interest in them as the remnants of the Arizona National Guard. Now, you become what's called the Desert Rangers. That's what you decided to take on a new mantle of. So your group, you're part of a larger group. And your character, your main protagonist, doesn't necessarily, he's not following through. You create, in the very beginning of Wasteland 3, you create 2 people, and you can use their presets, or you can customize your own. And at that point, you're going to start your adventure in Wasteland 3. Wasteland 3 takes you to Colorado, and it takes you outside of Denver, Colorado Springs, Aspen, that area, all around in that area. And it's a much harsher environment. There's a very bad winter going through the whole area. And at this point, what you're up there doing is there's a gentleman up there who, again, I'm not going to go too far into, but he is somebody who has established a very strong foothold in Colorado, and he's providing food for Arizona. Okay. And in return, like the Rangers, I believe there was something they were doing prior to, or they were just probably paying, I believe, for that food. But he basically called up and said, "Hey, look, I've got a problem up here. I've got some unruliness going on. I need people to come up here and help me put this down, so that I can stay in power and you can stay getting food. So I need some Rangers up here." So that's why you come up, and that's how the game starts. Now, they've done a lot of differences from the first and the second to the third, like I was saying before. Most of them were to streamline the game and make it more approachable for someone to come into 3 and not necessarily need to play 1 and 2. It's good for the backstory, but you also get a lot of that if you're paying attention to the things you pick up. There's a lot of things, just like Fallout, that you can read after picking them up that give you a lot of information on the world itself. So right away, I was at home in this game because it was more of the same of what I was used to, but also just built upon and much better. At that point, so when you start playing the game, you kind of get yourself established, and then your goal is to drive around inside this area with your basically like kind of an APC, and
What's an APC?
An armored personal carrier. Like
Cool.
like in the military, door comes
Okay,
down
I
the
didn't
back.
know what that was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. And but this thing will be fit with like snow treads and stuff. And as you go, you're upgrading that because there's certain areas you can't go into. So as you unlock the story, you're going to get like an increase in your vehicle's radiation level, so you can all of a sudden go to this new area and go in there without getting killed. The other thing that's cool about it, though, is that you build your characters. You don't have to play with any named characters in the game. You can create all of the characters, build them from the ground up. You can say, I want this guy. Like, for instance, I have 2 cats. I have a cat named Mose and a cat named Chibico. And Mose, I created as a character along with myself and Kara, and then Chibi as well. So I decided to just make a character, and I made Mose like my tank, who's like, he shoots missiles and like he does extra damage to people because cats do stuff like that. So like I just did something silly like that. I made my guy like a gunslinger that had a lot of ability to. He was always using small guns, but he had a lot of ability to move on the map far. So as you play through this game, the combat system is so fun to do that I just never got tired of it. I'm at the end of this game, and every battle I get into is still fun to me because of how they build it. There's a cover system. There's you can go for defense. You can switch your weapons mid battle and use something else if you're dealing with robots versus people and all that different stuff. So for me, a person who really enjoys the progression of a game, the customization, I don't want to start a game and be the same at the end that I was in the beginning. I
Right.
want to be able to do all these different, and that's what this game brings. There's a little bit of quirkiness to it, and levity moments that are what you kind of expect from a game like this, because it's a dark themed game. Sometimes you need those moments. And the atmosphere overall just drew me in and just hooked me. So even if you played the first, like I would tell people, if you go back and play the first two, you're going to see a big difference from 3. So anybody who plays 3 and never played 1 and 2 may not necessarily want to go back and try those because of how much different the flow of the game is. It's kind of like how they did Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim. You know, they kind of brought it down a little bit to make it more approachable for more people.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't pick those games.
But yeah. But nonetheless, a great series, something that is on Game Pass right now, so you can download it and play it for free if you have Game Pass, which
Free.
you know is really good. Well, you
It's
know
a
what I mean.
stupid good deal, though.
It is. It really
It
is.
is, it really
and,
is.
And you could easily invest like 40 hours into this game, no problem. So that to me is something that if I'm going to download a game that I have on my membership pass and it can hook me for that long, that's good money spent right there. You know, so yeah, Wasteland 3, very good game, and go play it.
Now, I'm not really a tactical RPG guy. I've enjoyed a couple in the past, like I enjoyed Final Fantasy Tactics on the Game Boy Advance, but I mean, who didn't, right?
That was
Fire
fun.
Emblem I played.
Yeah, I played a little Fire Emblem. So, would you say if that's not really your thing, would you still enjoy
Here's
that
the thing.
game?
If you don't want to play like a tactics, like you got, here's what you got to understand. The story is great, but you're going to
Yeah.
get into some battles, and the battles are going to be 10 minutes, maybe 15
Right.
minutes, depending on what you're fighting and how many are in there. So you absolutely have to like the chess aspect of it.
Yeah.
And for me, that's fun because I'll turn the difficulty up to the point where it's really hard and fail 3 times on a battle, but when I figure out the sequence and get it right, man, it feels great. I love that.
Is it similar to like what was it? What was that game, Alex? Dragon Age Inquisition.
No,
it's
that-
very
that's-
different.
Yeah, that's different.
Well, I'm the play style, like
Very
the
different.
battling.
Very different.
Okay.
So that's a game where your players are still actively attacking, like you're directing them, right? But they're doing their own thing.
It's
I have to
real
tell
time.
a guy to
some
move.
directions, like on who they attack,
Right.
Or you know,
I have to tell a
but
person
you-
literally go here, then go here, then go here, and hit this
So
guy
more
here.
like the Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly,
okay.
exactly
Yeah.
like that.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the biggest fan of that. I like tactics, but
It's not for everybody.
it
I
isn't,
think it's
but-
funny. Like people are like, I don't like tactics games, but Final Fantasy Tactics I like. You know.
Well,
like,
the
you're a
original on the
child,
PlayStation
and
was
it-
incredible.
yeah.
Love
I,
it.
I played it on Game Boy Advance.
War of
Yeah,
the Lions
yeah.
was so
I've played
good
some
on
other
PS1.
tactical RPGs.
Showing
I
my
do
age.
find that the tactics kind of aspect, I can get into it as long as there's a good storyline behind it.
And there
And
is.
I like the characters, so-
You might like Wasteland 3. You might like
I'm not down. I don't know if I can play it for like extended periods, but I can at least put like an hour or two into the game before I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna take a break and play something a little bit quicker paced. But that's how I feel like that's how I would play it. But
I
I
would
mean,
say
I know
as
what
far
it
as-
is that a similar comparison?
What was
Yeah.
it?
Age of Empires.
is.
No, that's a real-time strategy.
That's
game.
RTS,
That's an RTS,
Okay.
which does not fall into the RPG category.
let's see.
Which parts?
But
of it
like,
could?
think of like Advance Wars, Fire Emblem, Final Fantasy Tactics. Anything that says tactics in the name is going to be a tactics-based game. But like Advance Wars was a big one for Game Boy Advance that people played. If you remember that.
My brother actually. Now that you mention all those, like Fire Emblem and stuff, that was Ryan. He
Fire
enjoyed
Emblem
those
is
games.
very popular.
It
Whenever
was,
a
yeah.
new one
was
comes
it,
out,
Was Golden Sun one as well? I think Golden Sun was one, but I can't remember.
I don't think Golden
I
Sun had
know
the grid
Golden
pattern
Sun.
Might be
kind
thinking
of
of
I've never
thing.
played it,
Golden
but-
Sun was my jam.
Okay, so
But
it wasn't
I don't
an arts- it
remember.
wasn't
Golden Sun
tactics.
was, I think, more turn-based. I don't think they had like the
Yeah, I'm mixed-
part
I
with, like,
think I'm
the grid
mixed up on it.
formation.
God,
Yeah, I got
I
mixed
haven't
up
thought
on
of Golden Sun in so long. And then the sequel,
Actually, I
Pull
think
one
I
out
had
of my
shelf.
pocket for you.
that was so good.
Alex, I've got one on my shelf of old things.
Yeah.
Hey,
You
it's
guys
a
wanna see my
fantastic shelf of old
crossbow?
things. All right, it's fantastic.
One
You
day
can see
you
the
can get on
Nintendo
that shelf.
64 right there. Nintendo 64.
One
Right
day
there
we'll
with the old
place
thing.
Alex
I
on
could
the
see
shelf.
I could see a cat on the Logan's left corner.
Yeah,
where
that's
the-
what I will. Place
I
my
saw
on my
Obi
shelf
sitting over
both
there.
things.
I'm trying to get my cat to come over because I kept looking over at Obi. He was behind the black screen over there, and I could see him
Guys,
on the couch.
let's
He's
admit
not
it.
there
We're
now.
going to have a museum one day, and
Oh,
my
yeah,
old
he's
shelf's going
over
to be one
there.
section,
Oh, he's
and
behind-
my
I can't
ass is
see
going
him
to be
no
right
more.
in the dead center.
I can't see him no more. He was. I could see him. He was looking right at us a minute ago. Yeah, he's still there.
Oh, there
he
he
was
is.
looking. He was looking in between the little. And I'm like, well, now I'm not paying attention because the cat's looking at me.
The most recent tactics game that I liked was Mario versus Rabbids.
Oh, I wanted
on
to
the
play
Switch.
that. I wanted to play that. When I saw that on E3, I geeked. I was like, dude, that looks like it would be fun. And
That
I
was
never
fun
went and
because it
got
was kind of like Tactics Light. Like it played the same way, but it wasn't like an XCOM or a
Yeah,
Wasteland.
yeah. XCOM
You know.
is you really gotta like tactics games to play XCOM. XCOM
Right.
is tough. XCOM is tough.
Especially, I watch people
tough,
play
so
like
no,
the
I'm just kidding.
permadeath mode on XCOM.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's
It's
that's
intense.
exactly what I mean. Yeah, like because I mean it was the same thing with Fire Emblem. Like you'd lose a guy, and be like, oh nope, I'm turning this off and restarting.
Yep.
That guy was awesome.
I guess I will
it's
go
your turn.
next.
Yep.
Because we all know what Logan's picking, so we'll let him go last.
Save the best for
But
last.
mine, I brought a visual aid, is Kingdom Hearts.
Ooh.
I knew you'd do that.
And
I forgot my visual aid.
it's more for the second Kingdom Hearts game is arguably the best one in the series, but my
I
favorite
agree.
will always be the first one.
That's
I
okay
should-
as long as you don't say the third one.
It's where you fell in love with the series. The first
Yeah,
one.
absolutely.
My story with it is I remember seeing the commercials for it, and I like Final Fantasy. I'm not like super into Final Fantasy, but I do enjoy it. But as everyone knows, I like Disney. I'm a Disney guy. So when I saw the commercials, I was like, okay, Final Fantasy, yeah, cool, whatever. And then it showed a Disney character, I think it's probably Mickey Mouse, and I was like, you know, like, what is this? And at the
and
time,
he's a ninja.
I didn't own a PlayStation 2. At the time, I had a GameCube, I think. But my friend had a PlayStation 2, and he had Kingdom Hearts. And I went over and played it. And then I went home, sold my GameCube, got a PS2, and bought Kingdom Hearts. I was like, I'm playing this. I want to own this game. And like I said, I think it was like 1, 2, 3 in this series. 3 I
Oh, yeah.
enjoyed because I like Kingdom Hearts. But by the end of 3, I was just kind of mashing the
Press
button.
triangle to beat game.
Yeah, it got kind of old.
A little
towards
disappointing.
the end of it.
A little disappointing for that.
And
I
then
was
you would build
disappointed
up,
too.
what, the special attack, and it would just kind of wipe the map with everybody. And to me, there wasn't as much
Yep.
skill involved in the third one
Oh no.
as the first two. But
I
I'm
think
more of
two
an
is-
action RPG guy. I like turn-based games. Like, my favorite turn-based is Final Fantasy IX. It always will be. But I've only really ever played, like, Final Fantasy 8, 9, and 10. I tried, what was it, 12? And that's the first one where they changed the combat to be more real-time. And I didn't really care for that. But I've learned I like action RPGs like Fable, Kingdom Hearts, where everything is real-time, like you're just kind of adventuring, you level up as you play. Or even like action RPG, I would consider like The Division 2 is an action RPG, right? You're leveling your stuff up, but you're not stopping, going to a separate combat screen, doing the fight, getting sucked back out of it, and continuing on.
Yeah, that's got to be like a hybrid between that and like an MMO, though, right?
Yeah, you could argue that because it's got the
Yeah.
co-op and stuff.
Oh yeah, a lot of people just everywhere as you're going into the hideouts and stuff. Like it had that weird Destiny kind of MMO where it was like they were there and then they weren't there. You know what I mean? Like depending on where
Right.
you were.
And not
But-
to mention, do they still have like a Dark Zone in Division 2?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they do.
I
As
hate
far as
it.
I know, it's
plenty
kind
of plenty of
broken.
trolls in there.
That was just a pain in the ass.
Oh my God.
You get in there, you get like immediately sniped. Right.
You're like, I'm good at this game, and then you get lasered by some guy who learned the meta perfectly and like built his character to be like a glass cannon jerk, and that's it for Dark Zone. Yeah, I hated that.
So, yeah, that's my pick. I'm not going to go into the story. Sorry, guys. I'm sick.
You okay?
I'm not going to go into the story too much because no one understands the Kingdom Hearts story. It's basically fight the bad guys, kill them. Like,
It's like
move
love.
on.
So Trav, for me, when I played the Kingdom Hearts series, I actually got exposed to Kingdom Hearts by my now fiance, who I never even knew about it. She's like, "Yeah, I'm playing this game. It's Square characters, or Final Fantasy characters, basically, and Disney." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm not like I am not a Disney person. That's not my thing.
Right.
Okay, so for me to play this game, I looked at it like, and then I start playing it, and I'm like, oh my god, this game is so much fun. Like the combat's cool.
Yeah.
I like the progression. I actually think the cutscenes are really good. It's a game that's approachable for kids, but it's also really fun for older people to play. It was just a genuinely good game. So I sunk my teeth into it, destroyed it, and that was a game that I played while Kingdom Hearts 2 was getting ready to come out.
Right.
And Kara and I were just starting to date at about that time. So she got her wisdom teeth taken out, and she got Kingdom Hearts, I think, around the same time, Kingdom Hearts 2 and everything. So she would just sit in her house in the living room, just swole up, look like a chipmunk in the dark with a blanket, just playing Kingdom Hearts 2. And I would come over and she'd be like, her, and I was like, oh, you look so cute. Let me, can I get that for a minute? I came over to hang out and watch her play, and it just became like, I gotta have my own save file. So when I played through 2, I was so invested, I went and got Ultima Weapon in, I think, was that in both games? I know it was in 2.
I remember it.
Pretty sure it was in
2.
1 as well, but I can't remember. Yeah, it was definitely in 2. 2 was a big gaudy monstrosity that looked like you bought it at a Lisa Frank store. But that thing dominated. I went and beat Sephiroth. I beat the Clock Tower guy. I beat everybody that was supposed to be hard on top of it. Like, I was like, let me go to Hercules, do all the challenges. So, like, for you, like, I know that you've told me, normally when you play games, your first playthrough, you like to kind of go for it and not really get too stuck on the side things. Did this game do anything for you as far as going back and trying to get all that stuff? Because for me, I wanted to do everything that game had to offer with Kingdom Hearts 2. I thought it was fantastic.
My first playthrough, I raced through it. Because I just was like, I was hooked on it. I was playing. At that time, I wasn't really playing a lot of games that had a lot of side stuff to do. So, like, that concept wasn't in my head, right? Where it's like, oh, I can go over here and do this. Like when the game was like, oh, go here, I was like, okay, I'll go there. But I've replayed the game so many times that I have since gone, it's like, I've gotten all the Keyblades, I've upgraded all the characters, I've found all the secrets, I've done all the stuff that I didn't do on my initial playthrough. Because my initial playthrough, I played it on easy, probably, and just barreled through it. No real issue. And if I had a complaint about the games, and from what I read online, it's a pretty common one, is the gummy ship sequences.
Oh, God. Yeah, good call.
Like, I enjoy it the first couple times, but once you finally get the warp thing, you're like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, seriously. Because it was the dumbest part of the whole game.
Now, people have made some really cool gummy ships. You look around online, they make, like, giant chocobos and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool, but what is, like, can you please explain to me how, like, hey, all right, we gave you some wild, outlandish shit to understand, but it's a video game, right? Now we're going to give you gummy ships to go between them, and you're like, no. See, that's not wild and fun, and that's absurd and stupid, and it makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, you're like, oh, I'm playing on Tarzan. Or Tarzan's level. Okay, cool. We gotta go to Hercules. Well, you're going to fly through space.
Let me hop in my Haribo spaceship and take off.
Now to shoot 'em up in space.
Mine's a Sour Patch Kid ship. You know, like, it's so dumb. But yeah, and I love the drive system that they put into the second one with different forms. Like, that was really cool, because when you had that final form where the Keyblades, you're not even touching them. You're just like, I'm just Magneto, like, that was awesome. That was awesome.
It's probably the first game that I did multiple playthroughs of as a kid. Because when I was younger, I mean, my parents didn't have a whole lot of money, so it's like if I wanted a new game, I beat a game, trade it in. Get my 2 cents for it at GameStop.
Yeah.
To put it towards something else. But Kingdom Hearts I kept.
They slap you in the face and go tell you to buy a new game. That's your trade-in value.
Because my parents would just be like, well, why don't you trade in and get a new game? And I was like, it was the first game where I was like, no, like, this is my game. You know, I want to play it over and over and over again.
I'm going to put it on a shelf when I'm done. It ain't going nowhere.
Right, yeah, this is mine. And unfortunately, that original copy, I have no idea what ever happened to it. I was, I think, 13 when I played it. Who knows, you know, where that is now. But these versions are really good, the PlayStation 3 ones, because they added the extra content that they got in Japan that we never got here.
I picked that PS4 one up that has everything on it.
That's a good copy, too, because it's got all the Game Boy games and
I
everything.
got that for
on
like
it, too.
$10 on like a Black Friday deal. I was like, yep.
It recently came out on the Xbox One, but it was like, to get all the different versions of the game was going to be like $100-something. But they put it on Game Pass on console finally. So if you've never played Kingdom Hearts, you can get it on Game Pass on the Xbox console.
No, anybody
I might
watching
just pick it
probably
up because
noticed.
I want to play it again. I haven't played it in a while.
Really good.
Anybody
Never played it.
who's listening to this is probably noticing that we're not really focusing too much on 3. There's a reason for that. Like Travis said, he played through most of it. I played through the first world and was like, nope, I'm done. My big issue with Kingdom Hearts is not necessarily Kingdom Hearts 3 itself. It's the fact that they went, oh, you guys love this series after Kingdom Hearts 2, and they went, here's all this other stuff we're doing to confuse the storyline and make no sense. Oh, now you guys are pretty much over it? Wait a minute. You original people who are teenagers are in your 30s now? Okay, fine, here's Kingdom Hearts 3. What the heck? That was like Duke Nukem. When Duke Nukem was like, people were like, let's do another one. And they're like, okay. And then the 90s go away, and for a long time, and then they release Duke Nukem, and everybody's like, that guy's a jerk. Who cares? Nobody wants to listen to that crap anymore. You know, it just, they had something, and they milked it with some of the titles. I can't even remember, like 365 over 3 days, or whatever the hell that title was. And
They
like,
were on handheld. They were
you
on
had
Game
to
Boy.
go on a website to learn what the title meant. Like, what does that mean? And then look up and you got this other organization, and then you got this guy, and you got that guy with crazy hair, and more Final Fantasy looking dudes. And I was like, yo, like, give me the Heartless, give me the bad guy villains, and let me just start wrecking stuff. Like, give me some hard guys from Final Fantasy as extras, but what are we doing with all these Organization 13 or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh my god. The rabbit hole got so deep and convoluted that at that point, I didn't have a vested interest in the story for Kingdom Hearts anymore.
By the time 3 came out, I was playing it for the gameplay. The story was so convoluted.
Yep.
I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm playing in Toy Story World, and that's freaking cool.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm going to do that. But
They also needed to get rid of the rhythm thing in the Mermaid world. Let's just stop with the Guitar Hero stuff. Like, I know that was Guitar Hero was big at the time, so they're like, we got to do a rhythm. No, just go ahead and remake the game. Just pull that right out.
The swimming was horrible.
God, it's atrocious.
It was so bad.
You're trying to hit a guy above you, and you're just like, and then all of a sudden you just go zip, and you go straight up. You're like, what is going on?
But so, for me, it's probably the first action RPG I played. Which is, sorry, my phone's going off. And that
Somebody has a smoke alarm going off too. I heard low battery on that thing.
I heard someone beeping.
Little chirp.
But it's the first game that I played that I was like, oh, there's different kinds of RPGs out there. It's not just your Final Fantasy turn-based games. It's not, those style games. Like,
right.
And now my favorite ones are games like Dragon Age, Mass Effect, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Those kinds of games.
Talk about Mass Effect 3, though, really.
Messing up the threes, man. Messing up the threes.
It's hard for a series to keep,
The one thing Mass Effect did that I really did think was really cool was you could transfer your decisions to each game. That was really cool.
That was a really big benefit for that game, especially if it wouldn't accept your old save files for some goddamn reason. The ones that you worked on for extended amount of time just to get the correct storyline, the characters to survive certain situations.
I got to sleep with the
it's
right
not loading.
aliens.
Exactly.
And Logan, to your point that you made about Deus Ex earlier, that game took a big giant page off of Deus Ex and basically made its ending the same damn ending as Deus Ex. Wasn't a good idea, but you could still see that Deus Ex has ability. It's still influencing games right
pissed
now.
off
You know what I mean?
like right before the ending. Like I got into the ending, and then I saw a spoiler for the ending. And I was like, no, why?
That
why?
sucks.
No.
I beat Mass Effect 3 in one sitting. I woke up on a Saturday and just went through.
You want to know how committed I was to that
See,
game?
I can't-
When I got to the point where Rex, like where it's spoiler alert, Mass Effect 1 spoiler alert. If you don't want to listen to me, mute right now. But what happened was there's a part where you're with Ashley and Rex, and you're on a certain planet, and Rex is upset about the genophage, which is what the Solarians made for it. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this brain telling you all the people and stuff. I can't believe I'm remembering this stuff. And that's how invested I was. Rex, there was nothing I could do with the conversation. It was going to save the moment where I ended up having to kill Rex. I was so mad. I went on the internet and found out the choice I made wrong. Had to roll back hours. Did it. Just did it. No, I need Rex. Rex is the man. I loved Rex. All the Krogan characters I was on, they were my boys. Like, those guys were muscle. If I got them on my team, dude, they make 8 billion of themselves and they like me. Oh, you can't touch me, dude. I'm the man. So having Rex on the team, and then later it was Grunt, right? Who was like supposed to be the perfectly genetics like Krogan in like the second one. Those guys were awesome. Those guys were awesome.
But no,
and
if you
because
kept Rex alive,
saved Rex, he's the head of the Krogan in the next game, and I'm like, yes, that was the perfect thing to do. So yeah, absolutely. The choices in that were fucking awesome, and yes, they did carry and had a lot of weight up until the ending. But that we won't talk about.
I will say Andromeda is actually really fun now that they've fixed all the bugs and glitches in it. It is a lot of fun.
Man, it was funny looking when it came out, right?
no,
Yeah. I didn't play
I still
it when
played
it came
it.
out.
no, I got it when it came out. It was still fun to play. For the most
The glitching
part.
was pretty rough, but they really made me laugh.
It just, I don't know if you should call it a part of the Mass Effect series,
I would.
because you really.
I would say it's a part of the
At the
universe.
end of 3, you end that storyline. Like you can still make part of the Mass Effect universe, but in its own sense, Andromeda should have just started off as a new,
No, you're fine.
Did that take
a
place
newest
after
thing.
3?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
and in a
Sure.
completely different galaxy.
Yeah,
Not even
they
the
go
same,
to
like,
the
you-
Andromeda Galaxy,
Yeah.
which is why it's named Andromeda.
Yeah, they're just expanding out now because now they know there's more places to go.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Not that there's more places to go, that they can finally actually travel that distance. But you still have to put, everybody still has to go in, cryopods.
And
all this other
Alex,
kind
do you
of
know
stuff.
why they picked the Andromeda Galaxy? Do you know why?
I don't know, flip of a coin? I can't remember.
Because it's our closest neighbor, and you can actually see it with your naked eye at night.
Oh,
Because Travis has
that's
taken pictures of
fantastic.
it.
And you know what that good? You go to your closest neighbor, you get a bunch of fucking
And
trouble.
in 2 billion years, our galaxies are going to go smash into each other.
Cool.
I'll be here for that.
I don't think it'd be smashed. I think it'd be more kind of like
I'm going to
just,
set a
nice,
reminder in my phone
even,
to let me know.
merged
Oh,
together.
yeah, let me just do that right now. Okay, Google. Wait.
They actually say, tangent, when they do smash into each other, the likelihood of Earth getting destroyed is very small because the galaxies are so big, there's so much space in between things, you would maybe not even notice.
Or their energies
probably
will
just be,
superheat the entire galaxy and
more-
set it all on fire.
Well, you probably just see more stars in general. Probably a bigger sunlight, not fully sun-sized star, but there's probably gonna be one really big ass motherfucking star right.
Or you just get sucked into the black hole in the center of the Andromeda Galaxy.
What was the telescope that just recently was observing the white dwarf that just completely went out? We just got footage of that recently. It's super bright and it just goes.
Yep.
But it's still a little light. It's on low.
Yeah, because I think it
It's
turns into
interesting
a
because-
solid mass afterwards.
Something
It's
like
a
that,
dead
or-
star or something like that.
We say,
Travis could
oh,
tell
that
us.
just happened, and it's actually, it's
Billions. of
1
years
million light years away, so it happened a million years ago. It's just, we're just now
Yeah.
able to see it. It's crazy when you think about that. The
Oh,
light you're
absolutely.
seeing
Oh yeah.
anytime I
millions of
think
years
about
old.
space, anytime I try to answer a question, it just gives me 10 more to try to answer. So it's just
Couldn't-
like,
couldn't you make that
blows my
same
mind.
comment about like every time they see an asteroid and it's on its way to Earth? Couldn't it just clearly be also changing course like halfway through?
Recently, a massive asteroid that would have destroyed Earth passed by Earth very closely, and NASA
Yep.
didn't notice it until it was passing by.
Are you talking about the one that passed by closer to the moon?
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
and NASA was like, "Oops, we didn't see that one." Like, it would
Not
have
like it
destroyed
matters
Earth.
if they do. Like, now we're just worried, you know?
Yeah. Well,
But,
apparently they
yeah.
have plans in place, but yeah. Anyway, so
That's to
Logan.
keep the public from, like, going
That
crazy.
giant satellite dish in the Amazon is just gonna open up to be a giant Death Star laser.
So, have we all played Kingdom Hearts? I know
Save
these two
us,
probably.
Amazon!
I have. I've played. I know I've played one fully, and I think
Okay.
I've played part of two. I
Logan,
haven't played the
played
full
it.
series yet.
Nope.
Logan, God, man.
Keep picking games that Logan never plays. Like, like, what do you play, Logan? Mario.
Right.
Mario Maker, Rocket League.
Yeah, we know. Like, that's funny. And the funny thing is Logan has played a lot of games. We just keep picking a bunch of shit that he never played before.
Well, I also look at it like, well, now he's getting a list of games, right, to go try. Like,
That's what he's looking at over there. He's just typing a queue up of all these days, putting them all down on it. No, he's playing RuneScape. Let's be honest. Yeah, we all know he's playing RuneScape right now.
You can see it in his eyes.
so
Right there, his
speaking
eyes.
of RuneScape,
He's very focused.
Logan, would you like to let everyone know what your pick is for your favorite RPG series? That
Could it be?
Well, you guessed it if you hadn't already. RuneScape. So I'm just gonna give y'all the quick little synopsis of the game. It was, well, let me pull back. I think it was 1999 when the first form of the game came out, and I can't remember what it was called, but it wasn't RuneScape at the time.
I didn't know that.
And
Huh.
it was very basic. It had one quest, and then RuneScape came out, and they called it old school RuneScape for a long time after they pulled RuneScape 2 out of the game. They basically did a complete overhaul of the game and made it to what it is now. However, back in 2007, RuneScape 2 at the time was at the peak of its game, and it ended up being what everybody loved. But as the years went on, they started adding things that the fan base wasn't particularly happy about. There were a few things that I enjoyed that was added, and like before 2007, if you wanted to buy or sell anything, you had to go to World 1 or 2, which were always packed full of people selling and buying stuff. You would go to certain areas, and you would have to sit there and learn. This is where I learned how to type.
Oh, wow. That's
efficiently.
pretty cool. That's actually pretty cool. Same for me.
Selling whatever, and then putting your name, your username after what you're selling for however much. So a lot of memes and jokes on social media today, you'll see selling lobsters 200 each.
Want to buy girlfriend.
Yeah, whatever. But
That would have me cracking up.
But so 2007 rolls around, and then a lot of stuff started being piled onto the game. And then I think it was 2010, I'm not sure exactly the year, they decided to move to a combat style similar to World of Warcraft. And you would have hotkeys and different abilities, and they made it to where
They were trying to save
they
themselves.
made it better.
Because this is when WoW was popping, so they had to do
Yeah.
something, right?
So, anyways, with that, not a lot of people like that, and they ended up cutting off what the game used to be, and it wasn't ever the same. Like, they had summoning was a skill that also added to your combat level, and they changed your hit points were maxed out at level 99, so you would have 99 health. Well, they made it to where you had 1,000 health, which they just multiplied your
Excuse
HP by 10, and it just added an extra 0. It got to be too big. So in 2013, February 2013, they ended up bringing out old school RuneScape OSRS. And old school RuneScape is, and actually I said that earlier, the earliest edition of the game wasn't old school RuneScape, classic. That's just what it was, classic RuneScape. Sorry, that's what I meant to say earlier. Anyways, old school RuneScape came out in 2013, and it dated back to 2007, where the game was in that year. The community just dropped off prior to old school RuneScape coming out, and there was transitions with who owned the game and all that stuff. Like the original, I think they were brothers who created the game in their garage.
That sounds right.
They
Yep,
no
you're right.
longer have the rights to it, and so 2013 came out and old school RuneScape, and the sad part is everything that I had, all the time I had put into the game from 2000, starting 2004 into 2013, all of the skills and stuff and experience all transitioned to RuneScape 3, which is still around. I have a lot of skills in there, pretty high level, and that is kind of sad because I don't like playing that one. So when old school RuneScape came out, you had to start over. Everybody had to start over from scratch. So I did, and I am playing it right now, because if you're not playing it and if you don't multitask, it's experience waste. You're wasting time on getting everything maxed, because
That
you
man
know what?
loves the grind.
And that's the
Oh, well,
biggest
no.
thing.
You gotta love the grind.
The 95% of the time I see Logan on Discord, it's RuneScape Lite.
That's absolutely correct. I do see him playing that all the time on there.
There are 23 skills. All can be maxed at level 99. Level 99 requires 13 million experience. And not a lot of people know this, but level 92, or is it 93? I think 92 is halfway to 99. So
I was about to
once
say,
you get level,
yeah.
That's a standard old school MMORPG for you.
yeah. I mean, every 7th level is double the experience to get to the predecessor. So it's just a bunch of grinding. In game is what I'm grinding for, because it's you can't really do much until you do quests, until you get a beefy account, and I'm talking a beefy account is like level 80 attack, strength, defense, range, magic, prayer. Those kinds of things are all geared toward your combat. Then you've got skills like agility, which allow your run energy to respawn quicker, and it allows you to use shortcuts throughout the entire map. You've got smithing, mining, fire making, wood cutting, farming, slayer, hunter, construction, crafting, thieving, herb lore, all that kind of stuff. So with that said, I'm not really trying to max every skill out. I'm mainly focusing on my combat skills. But just a little backstory. I'm just going to read y'all the wiki. It just says it's an MMORPG. The game was released in February 2013. The version that I'm playing. New content, yada yada, old school, whatever. Oh, actually, yeah. And this game has gotten to the point where when I was, I don't know, it was like 2005 or 6, when I was still in grade school. No, that was middle school. When I was in middle school, I mean, I would dream of being able to play this whenever I could. My father was a techie, and he thought RuneScape brought on all the viruses onto our home computer.
Yeah.
That was actually Logan's LimeWire, not RuneScape.
We won't talk about what caused them. We're just going to say that this wasn't the cause of them.
This was what my parents pointed the finger at, and therefore.
And you were like, yeah, it's RuneScape. It's totally just RuneScape.
So,
what are you talking about?
So it was actually
Don't look at my
allowed to
history.
play RuneScape when I was younger. So it was literally get home from school, play until my dad would walk in the house and quickly delete the internet browser to make sure he didn't see it. But
couldn't just say you had to learn how to hide the file. That was the thing that you had to learn how to do. But he could have been on top of Steam.
well,
and stuff
at the time it was it was a web browser game.
So you could hide the shortcut and don't have it in the start menu, and he wouldn't know it's there unless he.
No,
goes to the programs,
there's no
It was
shortcut,
browser
none of that.
only.
It was a browser only. You literally went to RuneScape.com and then
And
you-
played it.
it would load up. You
Right.
didn't
Well, what I mean
download
is,
anything.
then why would you have to delete the browser? Isn't that just
Browser
your regular
history.
Delete the history.
history? Got it.
Yeah, the history.
I was
But
confused when I
anyway,
was like,
things.
what?
RuneScape and those other things. Yeah.
I was thinking you might have needed a different browser than what your dad was using in order to do it. Like he was using Netscape, and you were like, I needed. Who needed Edge? But that.
so one of the things that has always brought me back to it is in 2004 I wanted a maxed account, everything level 99, because that was awesome. Combat level 126. I think total levels, when you add every skill up, it gives you your total level. Mine's currently sitting at 1896. I think max is 2277, which I'm probably a good solid 5 years away from even coming close to that, and that's like grinding every day. But just to give y'all a little bit of
Can you look at the other people in this chat right now, looking at you when you just said that? We're like, what? 5 years
5
from
years
now,
to
you'll
work.
be maxed. Neat. Holy crap, dude!
It's one of those things, like a lot of us in the community of RuneScape, when like I've taken breaks, you never quit the game. You always just take an extended period
Pull me
break,
back in.
and then it pulls you right back in, and that's where the
Carlito's way.
replay value comes in for me. So because there's always something you can do. But like just to give y'all a little quest information, there's like a demon series.
Oh, I thought you were going to give us a quest for a minute. I thought you were actually giving us a quest. That's like, what do I got to do?
There's a monkey series.
You have my sword.
a
You have my
penguin, a
bow.
pirate, an elf series, a fairy tale series, troll series.
Does that mean a series of quests to do?
Yeah, these are
Okay.
like each of these
Okay.
series has 2 or 3 plus quests
Okay.
underneath, and they range from super novice to grandmaster.
And the
that
quests
can
seem to take longer in that game than in like WoW. Like you could go to town, get 20 quests, and do them in like 5 minutes. Your
Yeah.
quests are a lot longer in RuneScape, right, Luke?
And I think there's 200 and something quests. That might be no. Hold on. There are a total of 146. I think I counted.
I
it
will
right.
say, with my limited experience with RuneScape, the quests are more interesting than in WoW. Because WoW is a lot of like, go kill 20
Go here,
pigs.
kill 10 of this, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so I mean that's basically it. RuneScape has kind of been the go-to game that I've always gone to, and I probably won't quit.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah, I don't see you ever
This will
stopping
be a game I'll
playing.
be playing with my kids,
Yeah.
and we'll definitely use them as my little bots.
Well, that's actually a question.
Son,
That's a question
keep
I have
clicking
for
that tree for me, bud, while I'm at work. Thank
But I have
you.
a question for you, Luke. Like, with that being a thing right there, what you just were talking about, do you ever see RuneScape as something that would stop its production at one point? Or is
No.
it at a point where it's like it's so easy to just keep going and implement things that it's not a problem? Look at this dude smoking a bogue. Firing
But-
up.
Anyways,
Don't smoke
yeah,
it.
so that's basically all
Stay
I
in
have to say on RuneScape. It's just one of those that has really high replay value.
I'll give you my quick brief history on RuneScape. I played it for the first time in 8th grade because the girl I was dating at the time played it. She's like, "Oh, I play this game called RuneScape," and I was like, "Okay, fine." And I was like, "Well, how much is it?" She's like, "It's free." I was like, "Perfect."
He's like, I'm going to be your online boyfriend.
So I tried it and I didn't like it. But I
It's
will
definitely
say,
not for everybody, right?
it's the point click to move. I hate that Even in
Yeah, that's my
Diablo,
thing, too.
I got past it, but I don't like it. But I will
I
say,
hate
since
Diablo,
they've
too.
released it on phones, it's perfect for the point to go or click to move because you just tap on your screen
Right.
and your character moves.
Yeah,
So it's
I
perfect
have
for
a
that.
feeling that phone's battery is going to die way before it should because of how much I've seen that man playing RuneScape
So
on it.
I will say, like,
Surprisingly, not too bad. You can adjust it in game.
I've started playing RuneScape 3 on my phone, and I'm actually have been having. Now I'm not into it like Logan is, but I have enjoyed just playing through the quests and kind of dinking around with it. But anyway, that's my quick history with RuneScape. It's very short, very brief, and I'm starting to like it now, but I didn't like it historically.
Having
That-
someone like me to play along with, and oh, you have a question? Here's the information. Like I don't know everything, but
You're
everything
definitely
that I've done,
the reason
I've
why I
got-
picked it up again, because I see how much you like it, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
there's got to be something there. Right?
I'll say
It-
this too, Logan, when he finds himself another RuneScape fan, he's gone for the rest of the afternoon. You can't talk to him anymore because now he's like he zeroed in on this dude we went camping with just a couple months ago and was like, "You play?" Logan was like over here, and everybody else was sitting here, and him and his dude were just like. And I'm like, dude, this is so funny. Middle of the woods, and these two are like, "Oh, you play?" And then like Logan comes up to me and he's like, "He's not that good yet. He's a noob, man." I was like cracking up laughing. I was like, this is so funny.
and I'm not even that good. Like I
It
don't.
was so
I mean,
funny.
I'm good, but I struggle in the game, and the end content is what I want so bad because in RuneScape 3, my other account, I have maxed combat skills, so I was able to do all that stuff, but then it ended up just doing, like I said, it transitioned to this totally different kind of combat style that I did not enjoy, and it might be something that I'll revisit, but yeah.
So, do either Kyle or Alex have a lot of experience with RuneScape?
Alex
Or have
played
you
a little bit.
This is the first time that a game has been presented since I've been here that I have absolutely zero experience on.
Okay.
My experience with RuneScape isn't like a genuine experience. I kind of took over my brother's account on that one. He was already level 42, so I really had little invested interest. I mainly played because Logan and a couple of other friends played. I just hopped on to hang out, really.
Yeah, there
But,
are fun. There are
I
games
mean,
that are fun
I
for
just-
that, though. Yeah.
I couldn't get into it. I don't know.
Okay.
It was just a style or what, or the grinding. I don't really mind the grind. It's just I don't really enjoy the RuneScape grind.
Yeah,
If that
that's
makes
fair.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a very old school grind approach. I played a game called it probably is. I think it's still on Steam. It was called Night Online, and this is a very old like MMO build where it's just like humans and orcs. And I think I was telling you about it before, Logan, because I said that PvP was crazy, and because the guild I was in was so good that we would just swarm over the town that you're not supposed to go through because you'll get XP'd by like actual archer. But we had guys that were so built with their HP and so good with their defense and so many good healers. The guy would stand in the middle of town, let all of the things that would kill him shoot him. The healers would spam heal, and then we would just roll through and just bomb the whole town and take everything. Like, we were too good at it, because the old school games you could find that kind of glitch to the system, so to speak. But that grind was relentless. You had a guy who literally would go around and taunt everything in an area to make it follow him. And then all these mages, if you saw mages just standing in a line somewhere near like a valley, they're all just sitting and they're all just floating because they're basically just pooling their mana. And then all of a sudden this one dude comes running through with the entire server of monsters behind him, and everybody just drops meteors on it. And that's how you farmed XP and drops in this game. That was the only way to do it. That was it. Like, if you did it any other way, you weren't getting anywhere. So you
Well, I
needed,
mean,
it
that's
was just
similar
old
to
school.
the way you can farm like range and magic experience. There are these locations, these like caves where a bunch of like
I've seen
maniacal
that.
monkeys congregate, and it's multi-combat. You have multi-combat and non-multi-combat. So in multi-combat, you can hit multiple things single, you can't. You can only battle one
So
thing.
it's like an AoE
and if you
kind
go
of?
to attack, yeah. So basically, what you would do is you would you would gain all aggro on all the monkeys, and then these little chinchampas for range.
drop,
basically,
drop.
these like little. You can get them through your hunter skill, but they literally you throw like a. It looks like a raccoon almost. You throw it at one of them, and it just explodes and does area damage to 9
Okay.
spots. And
Rabid
it hits-
raccoons.
Yeah, and then you got with Mage, it's called like Barrage. Basically, it just does a 3x3 square, and yeah, that's how you farm it. It's expensive. The runes that you have to buy for the magic is expensive, and those chinchampas are ridiculously. It's better off to farm all that stuff yourself because you can craft the runes yourself, all that. So, but that just
See,
takes even more
that's
time.
what I kind of
so.
also didn't like about RuneScape. It's like when it came to magic, it wasn't based off like you have mana to use the magic. You had to have
The
runes
runes.
to use the magic.
Yeah.
RuneScape.
I get it. You can say RuneScape, and you can have runes for other shit that would relate to RuneScape. I don't see why I have to have a bunch of fucking runes to cast
Trigger.
a fireball. The easiest fucking spell in like every other game.
All right.
Because
well,
it was one of the
They
OGs.
took
What do
their
you
own
want?
route, bro.
Oh,
They
by
aren't
the way,
like
just
other
saying.
games.
Logan, I looked up what you were saying earlier. The game was originally called Devious Mud.
Yes.
MUD stood for Multi-User
User.
Dungeon. So
Yep.
Devious Multi-User Dungeon is what it was originally called. Made in '98 by Andrew Gower, it looks like. Yeah, that's the name of the guy.
sounds
And then it moved on into that other stuff. But yeah, I wanted to look it up because you said it had a different name. I had no idea about that. So that was interesting.
There's a few, like 1 or 2 videos online that you can see them actually playing it up on like a projector, like presenting the game, and they've come a long way.
They literally said
Long.
this game was that original one was a downloadable client, and that it was only really they only invited I think maybe like 4 people to try it really, so there wasn't a whole lot of screenshots from it. I think they have like a screenshot of a map, and not a whole lot else. You can find some, but not a whole lot.
Yep. But yeah,
well,
so that's mine.
so we kind of want to wrap this up. We got a couple people that need to go take care of some things. Is there any
Yeah.
last minute things anyone wants to add to the discussion before we do that?
Hot dogs and applesauce.
Go to Kyle's stream on Friday and Saturday nights for our tournament games.
For Rocket League,
All right.
okay, yeah.
Let him plug himself. Get out of here.
But yep, just like at the end of every one of these, I want to let all these guys throw things into the universe that they want you to check out on their own channels or just anything in general. And we'll start with Logan.
All right. So thanks again for watching the podcast, the show, whatever you want to call it.
Let's go with the
I stream on Twitch twice a week. I'd like to stream RuneScape, but I don't want to do the grind, and that's just boring. Anyway, so in-game content maybe in the next 5 years. We'll see. But
If Twitch is still a platform, I'll be here.
yeah. But I mainly stick to Nintendo stuff, and y'all can watch me rage and get beat up by people. Anyways, all right, peace, man. That's me. All right, thank you.
All right, Alex, go for
Uh,
it.
my
Batman.
channel's Xander's Xander Gaming on YouTube. I don't have shit right now. I'm gonna be dead honest with you people. I don't really have anything to give you. I will eventually get around to it.
I got
I
nothing
just-
for you.
You'll find him here.
Yeah, you'll find me here.
Yeah.
It's a start.
And if he's ever streaming something that we're playing multiplayer on, I'll be there as well. Same with Kyle. And Travis, if he ever goes back to streaming. I don't know. But as of right now,
No.
I just... I don't have a
I don't
lot
want
of
to
time.
stream no more.
I'm not doing it.
I'm not doing it. You can't make me do it.
I don't have a lot of time. I have a bunch of recorded shit.
I'm only the only one around here that doesn't know what steers. Not a real gun. Airsoft gun. Airsoft gun.
I have a bunch of shit recorded already. I haven't had the time to do any editing on those videos. So, and until now, I wasn't a person who wanted to use a face cam. So streaming really wasn't that interesting to me.
funny
Yeah, you
enough,
don't have
These
to
guys dragged me
face
to
cam
this
stream.
damn talk show.
This is a very
Pop
long
your,
plug
webcam
right here.
cherry, bro.
he used to be a cam girl.
See,
but
that's
he
why I
wasn't
don't
recording his
like
face, so
looking
it was
at the
okay.
camera. I'm just gonna look straight. They can
Everything
judge
from
what I'm
here
looking
down.
at.
It's from the neck down.
Down.
Okay,
All
well,
Kyle, anything you want
yeah.
to throw out there?
well, as my esteemed colleague Mr. Batman said, I do stream Fridays. Actually, it's a little bit of a kind of rotating schedule right now, but once I get things really locked in, I promise I'll update the Twitch calendar so you can see it. I am streaming Fridays, usually after 5, between like 5 and 10, we're doing some Rocket League matches, and probably going to be doing some other tournaments going forward there. So that's usually my hot time. But there will be other times, and honestly, once I get the move, then I think things will be better. So that's Twitch TV/White Strider. And yeah, and you can also look up some of the old games that we have that are up there to I guess watch on your own time. Which if you see that, you'll get an idea of what I'm doing live.
All right, cool. I just want to apologize for my sniffling and coughing throughout this whole podcast. I am recovering from a head cold, so I'm sorry if you've been listening to for the
I don't
last
think it was too
hour.
bad.
Wasn't too bad. Wasn't too bad.
It's gotten worse towards the end. Like I can tell the medicine is definitely wearing off. But
yeah.
anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and we will catch you next week.